you want us to hear this morning. In Jesus' name.
Amen, Lord.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Am I on?
Oh, no.
I think so.
Yeah, you are.
I'm on. Great. Just going to make this a bit shorter because I am short. There we go. Cool. Well, last time I came here, I had a bit more hair than I do now. I got it shaved this week, and the reason being, the barber decided to get out his scissors rather than his thinners, and chopped off, left a great big bald patch here, and so I decided to just go for it, got it shaved. But it's okay. I've got my family with me here today as well. If you see them in the front row, it's my two sisters and my parents. We're going to Portugal actually after this, which is why they're here. So I'm going straight from here to the airport, which is exciting. I'm very excited to get some time.
John.
Sorry?
He's given up time to come this morning, and they're all going to Portugal.
Here. I'll grab my water as well.
So, that's all you got.
It's fun. Right, we're up there. So, I've got a few slides to go with what I'm going to say today. And so basically what I have for you today is it's an accumulation of 3 ideas. And so I have this book, and so I have it with me wherever I go. And whenever kind of a word or a statement or a verse pops into my head, what I do is I'll write it down, kind of like a bit of I call it a mind map nowadays. And I'll just write it down, and then I'll just close the book, and then a few days later, a few weeks later, I'll open it up again. I can't remember when I've written it, why I've written it, or what I wrote really, but what I will do is I'll just expand from what I've written, and often I find that I come up with some, I get given some great things, and so what this message is today is the accumulation of 3 of those things. And so what they are is, there's 3: no matter, the best is yet to come, yes, absolutely, and frustration. Now I'll explain. So let's start with no matter. So no matter what has happened, no matter what is happening, no matter what is going on in your world, God is greater.
Amen.
The cross overcame.
Yeah.
Jesus prevailed. And then the second one, the best is yet to come. I'll actually leave this to the last one. Frustration will go with. So the second one now, frustration. And all I wrote with this, it was really simple. In order to press on to things ahead, you need to be frustrated. Now that might be a little different from what you've heard before, but I'll explain it in a bit. But in order to push on to things ahead,
yes,
you need to get frustrated.
Yeah, that's good.
And then finally, and I love this statement, this is probably one of my favourite statements that I live in my life, is the best is yet to come. It fills me with such hope. And so I'm gonna give read out a verse from Corinthians, just to kind of pack it up a bit, and then I'll go into it a bit more. So 1 Corinthians 2:9 should come up on the screen. It says, "No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love Him. But it was to us that God revealed these things by His Spirit. For His Spirit searches out everything and shows us God's deep secrets." I love that. So I'm going to unpack that statement just quickly. The best is yet to come. It fills me with such hope just saying it, but, so first of all, the best. What is the best? The best is what God wants for you. The best is the vision, like it says up here, His Spirit, it fills us with vision, with dream. The best is that which God wants for you.
Amen.
And so if we move on in the statement, yet to come, it implies moving forward. If the best is yet to come, it means you've got to move forward to reach that. You haven't reached it yet, where you are right now, and life isn't the finish line. You have to move forward because the best is yet to come.
Amen.
And we're not there yet.
No, that's right.
We're not there yet. Isn't it just so warming to know that wherever we are, whatever we're doing, the best is yet to come.
Hallelujah.
We could be in the highest high in life, everything's going amazingly, everything's fallen into place, and the best is yet to come. But we could be in the valley, the lowest point of our lives, and the best is yet to come. How hopeful is that statement? So anyway, so I come from Faith Church in Rogerstone. Don't come from there. I'm working there as the youth pastor at the moment. And Faith Church is run by Mike Taylor. I don't know if you know him. And he sends his regards. He'd love to preach here one day as well. He asked me to plug it. But anyway, so Faith Church is a part of a network of churches called Acts Churches, the book of Acts, not Acts as a tree. The Acts Churches. And so what we do as a network, there's loads of churches around the UK, and this spreads into Europe and also into New Zealand as well. And what we do at the beginning of every year, we call it February Fast, and what that is we start off our year praying and fasting as a network, as a group of people, to declare that whatever, this year is going to be the best year yet, because we know that the best is yet to come. So for a whole month, we collectively pray every day, and we fast every day. It doesn't have to be a full fast for a month. It's, there's a thing called the Daniel fast, which is no meats, no sweets, no weeks. Or there's, some people fast social media because they're on it too much. I can testify to that. All of these different fasts. And anyway, so they fast and pray together. We fast and pray together for a month in February to declare, God, what you did last year was amazing. But what you're going to do this year is going to be even better, because the best is yet to come. And that's what it is. That the February fast, I'm just going to put this here, stems from the idea that the best is yet to come. It's where people declare that where we are right now isn't the finish line. Hallelujah. That there is more.
Amen.
And so I'm just going to throw a question out to you, and then I'd actually like you to respond to me, because it's really actually quite interesting to see where people are at, and I'll explain why I'm asking this. If I asked you this question, what would you say? Life would be better if... I'll give you two, and then I'll ask you to shout some out. So they're not going to be serious ones. So life would be better if Arsenal Football Club didn't come fourth. If they didn't finish fourth every year in the Premier League, life would be better if. Life would also be better if... They should be last. We'll leave that one there. What about life would be better if KFC was the healthy option?
Oh, yeah.
For me, I would love that. What about some of you guys? Life would be better if you could, there's two of the same. If you could retire. I actually thought of one for you, which I'll share. Go on, Ken. If you love the Lord more, absolutely. What about if revival came? If revival came, can we believe that? Life would be better if? So, the reason I ask this question is because it unlocks this idea of a gap between reality now and a vision of something greater. Okay, so whatever your if was, what that is doing is unlocking a gap between what your reality is now and a vision of something greater. And there are three ways you can respond to it. Three simple ways. The first is to accept it. Arsenal will always finish fourth, unfortunately. That's just how it is. You just accept that result. My dad's sunk in his seat. He's embarrassed. The second way is grief. We can respond to that gap with grief. Unfortunately, I wish this could happen. Life would be so much better if this just happened. I could do so much more if this happened. Grief. And then finally, frustration. Yeah. We can deal with it with frustration. Yeah. Who here who would say, I just asked you to raise your hands, who here would say that they are frustrated with something in their life right now? Hands up. Okay, my goal at the end of this message is to get all of those hands up. And I'll explain. So frustration, you can deal with it with frustration. And what that is I'm frustrated with this gap between my reality now and my vision of something greater.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to strive towards it.
Hallelujah. I'm
going to strive towards that vision. And let me just say this, I'm going to drop this in, you can write this down because I think it's pretty, I heard this from someone, it's not me, but frustration is the fuel to change.
Yeah, that's good.
It's the fuel to change, okay. So, I hope you're ready to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel frustrated, by the way, and if you're not feeling frustrated, if you're not ready to feel frustrated, I just want to say that we need to wake up a bit, and this message is actually going to be quite quite direct, quite, the truth is a two-edged sword, I believe, and so it's going to be challenging. It's challenging for me to share it, coming into another church and sharing something which is actually quite difficult to hear myself still. But I really hope that this message is going to leave, you're going to leave today feeling fired up, frustrated, but also excited, fired up, and ready to bring the kingdom, ready to advance the kingdom, okay? And if you aren't frustrated, it means that you've lost your vision somewhere. And so today is also going to be a goal of reigniting that flame for that vision, okay? If you've lost the fire driving you to be Jesus in your community, you're not going to be frustrated. If we're not frustrated with life and things in life, we're accepting our current reality, what we are here today, what we're doing now, and saying, this is it, we've made it, this is the finish line, I'm happy here. And that's not okay. Okay, because we are all disciples, we all have a ministry, and our ministry is to advance the kingdom, to be Jesus, to be the light. Come on, how can we not be frustrated? Let me say that. How can we not be frustrated? How can we be content with where life is right now? How can we be content with where our communities are? How can we be content with where the world is? How can we not get frustrated because God's kingdom isn't breaking through more? Because if you're saying that we're in a good place as a faith, it's getting better, but really we're not in a great place as a faith.
Right.
There's more people outside in the world today that don't believe that Jesus came to die for their sins than there ever has been. Apart from when Jesus, But anyway, we should be frustrated that there is not more kingdom shining through.
Amen. Amen.
Okay? We should be dreaming for something bigger. We should be pushing for that vision. We should be seeing, dreaming to see our families in church. Dreaming to see our kids, I don't have any kids, but our kids living life loving Jesus.
Yeah.
If we take it bigger, we should get frustrated, enough to push for world revival. How great would that be?
Yeah.
Frustrated because we want to see hunger eradicated,
Yes.
sickness healed,
Yeah.
and to see our communities buzzing for a life with Christ. That's what we should be frustrated about, because we're not seeing that. So to give this idea of frustration a bit of depth, I'm just going to share a few verses. The first is Romans 8. It's in Romans 8:20. It should come up on the screen. And it says this: for creation was subjected to frustration. Creation was subjected to frustration. In the English Standard, it says creation was subjected to futility. See, I wasn't very good at English in school. I really didn't do very well, actually. But so I had to actually Google what the meaning of futility was. I'm not ashamed. It's just who I am. So I googled it, and the dictionary definition for being futile, for futility, and it was incapable of providing a result, ineffective and unsuccessful. So essentially, it's describing sin. Creation fell short, because that's what sin is. Sin is falling short of the glory that God has called us to, right?
Amen.
And so, creation is subjected to something that we fall short of. Who's ever had that feeling of, I'm called to this, I have this dream, but I just can't quite grasp it.
Amen. Yes.
I can't quite get there. I can see it, I can see a revival, but we just can't reach it. Because creation is subjected to something we just can't quite reach. It's a bit like, if you want to imagine it, I do good with pictures, water vapor. You can see it, you can feel it, you can't grab it. It's frustrating, having that dream, having that vision, but not being able to grab it.
Amen.
It should be frustrating.
It is.
We can see the call of God on our life, we can see the call of God for this church, for our community, we can see change, we can see people just striving for a relationship with Jesus, we can see all of these things, but we can't quite grasp it, and we should get frustrated because we can't. And what frustration will do is it will push us to strive more for it. Let's flip it a second. I'm going to flip it. Your world is frustrated because it's waiting for you to step out.
Wow.
If you want another picture, it's a bit like childbirth. I don't have a child, like I said, but you know, when the couple is waiting for that child, they know for 9 months that there's a baby inside the womb, approximately 9 months. They know there's a baby inside the womb, but they can't grab it. They can't grasp it. They can just see it. That's like the vision God has put in you. He's giving you this vision, and it's frustrating that we can't grasp it. Because I can guarantee every single mother and every single father waiting for that baby is frustrated because they just want to meet their child. I can guarantee it. Your community is waiting eagerly and frustrated for you to step out into your calling, for you to step out into that vision. If we continue in Romans, we go to verse 26 now, it'll be on the screen as well. 2 actually. Next one. There we go. In the same way, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. So where we fall short, the Spirit helps us. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. And if we go to the next slide, Acts 2:17, I will pour out my Spirit upon all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. See, the Spirit that we all have in us is drawing us closer to a future with God.
Yeah.
It's drawing us closer to that vision that God has given us. So we can see that our city is, it's going to change. That Newport is going to change. It's going to be impacted by revival. We can see that, and it should frustrate you because we're not there yet. Come on, let's start getting frustrated with our current reality.
Yeah. Amen.
Let's start getting frustrated with where our communities are at. At this point, let's refuse to let this point today be the finish line. Let's say you want to strive for more, because the best is yet to come. Can we believe that?
Amen.
I hope you're starting to feel an excitement bubble in you. That's the idea. It's a direct message, but it's also an exciting message because it gives hope. Okay? Because this isn't a game right now. Coming to church isn't a game.
No.
It's not a Sunday ritual. It's not a routine that your parents did, so you followed. Coming to church is to get you fired up. You shouldn't be turning up to church because you're on a team. Just because you have to, you're doing teas and coffees, you're singing. That shouldn't be why you turn up to church today. You shouldn't be turning up to church, because it makes you feel good. I'm just going to be honest. Can I say that? You should be turning up to church to get fired up and fueled for that vision which God has given you.
Amen.
This is why you should be in this building. We should be excited for the dream God has given us. Because if we're not, the world and the enemy will try and quench that flame. They will try and quench that vision that God has given us. So we need to turn up to church excited because God has given us a vision, and excited because we need to fuel that vision. We need to keep that vision on fire. Is that cool?
Yes.
See, it says in Romans 8:26, God has commissioned you with a groaning, a frustration for a greater reality.
Hallelujah.
It says in Romans 8:26, the Spirit Himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. Let's not make peace with the status quo.
No.
Let's not make peace with where we are right now, with the finish line that we could so easily fall into. Let's not make peace with that. We have no right to make peace with that.
That's right.
We have no right not to feel frustrated. Can I say that?
Yeah.
So there's a Christian psychologist named David Bennett, just taking it down a bit, and he said something amazing which completely flipped my way of thinking. He said this statement: Christians that have it together are the ones that have found a healthy balance between gratification and frustration. The reason that flipped my mindset was because, for basically my whole life, I thought the Christians that had it together, the spiritually mature, were the ones that were just at peace with everything. Whatever's going on, it's fine. Jesus has got it. I thought those were the spiritually mature people. And it looks like that. But no, there's a balance between gratification, no, that's okay, thank you, Jesus, and frustration. Let's go for more.
Yeah.
There's a balance. If you go to the next slide, Next one. There we go. Gratification. Gratification and frustration. I drew a line down the middle because I need to prove a point. So let me break it down. If you're all frustration, it's this side. If you're all frustration, what you're going to do is you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to put the flame out. Because all you're doing is striving towards a vision, but you're not fueling yourself. You're getting angry at yourself because it's not happening, and you're annoying the people around you. You're going to burn yourself out because you're pushing so hard you'll crash. But then if we flip it, if we're all gratification, you become stagnant.
Yeah.
Because all you do is thank you, Jesus. And I get it, you need to thank Jesus. Completely agree. But if all you do is thank you, Jesus, thank you for everything you've given us, we're doing so great right now because you've blessed us. If that's all you're doing, you're going to become stagnant. You're not going to move forward because you're stuck in that, in that place. I get it, we need to thank God. I completely agree. But we also need to get frustrated. We also need to look forward. God, you've blessed us. That's what February fast was about. You've blessed us, God, but now we're striving for more.
Yeah.
There has to be a healthy balance. So when we look at the Bible, let's pack it out a bit. When Jesus teaches us to pray in Matthew 6, we all know the Lord's Prayer, I hope. And it starts, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. That's thankfulness. Okay.
Yeah.
That's thankfulness.
Yeah.
God, your name is holy. God, your name is great. We lift you up. Hallowed be your name. And then goes on to say, your kingdom come, your will be done, here on earth as in heaven. God, we want more. We're thankful, but then we want more. Jesus teaches us to pray like that. It's amazing how much my world changed, how more positive my world became when I started thanking first and then striving for more. When I didn't stay in thankful and I didn't start with frustration, I started with thankful. Now, God, I want more. I want to push more. I want the kingdom to come down more. I want more revival. I want more change.
That's right.
It's amazing how much more positive my world became. Come on, let's get frustrated.
Yeah.
Because the best is yet to come. We need that healthy balance between gratification and frustration. Life might be great for you right now. You might be completely in the gratification place because life's great. You've been seriously blessed. And if it's not, little side note, come on, let's get a bit of perspective. I know stuff happens. We've all been through the mill a few times. We've all struggled. But come on, there's always something to be thankful for.
Yeah.
95% of you walked in this room today. You've got legs that work. That's something to be thankful for.
Amen.
All of you, I hope, are breathing. That's something to be thankful for. We all slept on a bed last night. Something to be thankful for. We can all come and freely worship and praise God publicly.
Yes.
That's something to be thankful
Amen.
for. Come on. There's always something to be thankful for. But don't stay there. We thank and then we push.
Hallelujah.
Paul had this, Paul was frustrated. You see it a lot, it's kind of like the Psalms as well, where David kind of seems to be quite bipolar and he's angry and then he's fine. But Paul has the same problem. He starts in Philippians, in one of his letters, he's gracious. If we go to the next slide. Cool. So, not that I was ever in need, this is Paul, for I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or with little. For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Amen. Same letter, next slide. Not that I have already obtained all this, or have already arrived at my goal, but I press on to take hold for which that Christ Jesus took a hold of me. Brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself there yet.
No.
I do not consider myself to have taken hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind, straining towards what is ahead.
Yeah.
I press on to the goal to win the prize,
Yeah.
for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. He's gracious, and then he's frustrated.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Paul was the greatest Christian, I think we can all agree, probably one of the greatest Christians in the world
Yeah.
that ever lived. He wrote this letter when he was in his 60s. And he was still striving for more. He did so much in Cyprus, in Spain, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And still asked, where's more?
Yeah.
I want more. We need to do more. In his 60s. So what's your excuse? Why aren't we frustrated? Why aren't we striving for more? You know, we need frustration for our cities. We need frustration for our communities. There are still starving kids in this community, in this borough. We need frustration to sort that out. Come on, we're called to be the light.
Yes. Yes.
You know, we need frustration to see revival in our cities.
Yeah.
We need that frustration, because if we don't have it, we're not going to move
No,
forward.
that's right.
If we don't have frustration, we're going to sit on the finish line, because we'll make the finish line where we are, and that's it.
Yeah.
Come on, we need to get frustrated.
Amen.
There needs to be that gratification, frustration,
Yeah.
that
Hallelujah.
healthy balance.
Good.
Come on, let's get frustrated with that gap
Yeah.
between our reality and the vision of something greater.
Hallelujah.
Let's not give in either. Come on, it's so easy to give up on a dream because we think our flesh can say, oh, that was a bit too big of a dream, wasn't it? Yeah, a bit too big of a dream. You know, we can start something with the vision of revival, but actually it comes to it, you struggle a few times, and as soon as you give in, you're saying, actually, the finish line is here, we're doing okay. How many people are there here? Probably about 40?
Yeah.
40 people in a church on a Sunday is okay, we're doing good. That can be seen as revival. As soon as you start giving up on that dream, on that vision, you settle with reality.
Yeah.
You've lost that dream. And that's not okay. We have no right to give up on the dream that God has put in us, because we've been commissioned to make it work. You know, how dare we settle for that? This service is great, but how dare we settle for 40 people on a Sunday? There's over 300,000 people in Newport alone.
Yeah. Wow.
If you look in the Newport Cardiff metropolitan area, I'm assuming that's both of them combined, down on Google, it's my best friend, over 1 million people in Newport and Cardiff metropolitan area. Over 1 million. In Wales, there's 3 million, and we're just one nation. Come on, let's start getting frustrated. As soon as we turn away from that vision, from that ideal, from that dream, is the moment we rationalise with where we are right now. We say that this is enough, and we have no right to do that. You know, we're called to be Jesus. You know, if we stand still, if we call this the finish line, if we just start looking inwards, we become like the Pharisees.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
That burnt a hole in my heart. You know, if we just sit here, expect it to come to us,
No, it's
we
not
become
good.
like the Pharisees.
Yeah.
Jesus, what did he do? He went out into the darkness. If you want to see revival, and this is it. If you want to see revival, you need to go out like Jesus did and be the revival.
Amen. Amen.
Can we agree with that?
Yes.
Because Jesus went out. He didn't wait and see. We need prayer meetings. We need this stuff. But if we just wait, sit and pray, unless God really moves, which I believe he can, but the best way that we're going to get revival is if we go out
Yes.
and we start being like Jesus.
Yeah. That's right.
Because he went out.
Yeah.
Jesus went out. He saw what they were doing. He said, no, I'm not going to stick to that norm. He could have easily fallen into a great crowd with the Pharisees. They agreed on a few things. He could have easily gotten along fine. He seemed like the great religious leader. But no, he went out. He said no to the Pharisees. He went out and he made a change. So, as a youth pastor, I lead a youth group. We get on average, about 50 youth on a Friday to our youth program. What we also do is we go into a school weekly. We're getting quite a lot of favour with the school actually. And we go into a school weekly, we take donuts to get the kids there, and we just hang out with them. And that's what we do. That's what part of my youth ministry is, and we're looking to push more into schools as well. But our youth group, the youth group that I lead, is called Revolution Youth. And so, like the church is a part of a network, our youth group is part of a network too. And so there are about 5 Revolution youths in the UK, and I came from kind of the bigger one, which is why I kind of moved towards that too. And it was called Revolution Youth because we believe that Jesus was a revolutionary. It's been given a bad stigma in the media, the name revolution, the word revolution. It's been given a bad stigma, but that's what Jesus was. He was a revolutionary, and he was a bad stigma to the media. But Jesus was a revolutionary. He went out, he went against the norm, like I said. He said, no, that way of living, it's old. We need to move on. We need to start going out, being light to the darkness. We need to love each other. And so that's why we call it Revolution Youth. And, we just came back from a camp called the Brave Age. So it's an annual camp that we run for all of the Revolution Youths and anyone else who wants to come. And it's called the Brave Age. And the reason it's called the Brave Age is because we believe that we need to empower young people to be brave in their worlds, to be the revolutionaries that God is calling them to be. Because Jesus got frustrated with what he saw and decided to make a change. And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to empower them to get frustrated at what they're seeing in their schools and to make a change. I've got a video of some highlights of it, so it'll probably take a few minutes to get up, but give it a second. There we go. So this is the highlights of our camp last week. Two people would hold it either end, and they got a water balloon in the middle and fired it to hit the guy on the leg. So that's what that screaming was. It was extremely funny to watch. Extremely funny. But anyway, so that was our camp, and we had loads of fun doing it. But the main idea was to inspire young people to be brave. To be the brave revolutionaries that we've all been called to be. How great would it be if we could do the same? Let's start getting frustrated enough to start doing something in our world. Let's fuel the vision God has given us. So, I originally, the church I'm from is called Equippers Church. It's where I did my internship, but Equippers' name started in New Zealand, and their youth group is going crazy. They do a thing called Revolution Tour, where they go to hundreds of schools a week, and then they do a night rally where they'll get thousands of youth out, and it's amazing what they're doing. But so their youth initiative, they started something last year, a youth initiative called #ByTheGate. It's a very hip term, a bit too hip for me, but it's called By the Gate. And what that's about is, it started with a young person saying, you know what, I'm going to take a stand. I'm thankful for God for what you're doing in my youth ministry, but now I want more in my school. And so what she did, she got up an hour early, she went outside her school and prayed for an hour. For her school. This is a 15-year-old. They're doing that across New Zealand now. Some schools have over 50 kids outside praying for their school an hour before school every morning. How amazing is that? Another story from the same girl. She and her friends pulled together their pocket money and they bought the whole school pizza. I don't know how much pocket money they had, but it seemed like quite a lot. They bought the whole school pizza. They bought the whole school pizza, and so for a lunchtime, they opened up their school hall, they served everyone pizza, and all they asked in return is that everyone sit down for 2 minutes while this girl shared her testimony.
Gosh.
In that testimony, over 100 young people responded.
Hallelujah.
Absolutely. And that's what, the youth here are starting to do that too. All of that started from a young girl who she was thankful for what God did in her life. She got frustrated and she asked for more. She wanted to do more. She became a revolutionary in her school. She was brave and she made a difference. Come on, let's get frustrated. What would happen if we did that at our workplaces? It wouldn't be called by the gate, but just prayed outside our workplaces for an hour. That's a huge ask, even for me. I work in a church. But how great would it be if we could do something like that? If we could get frustrated enough to start making a difference. Come on, let's get frustrated.
Yeah.
We need to get frustrated because the best is yet to come. And the only way we're going to keep going to the best that God has called us to is if we start getting frustrated enough to make a difference. So I'm coming to the end, but maybe what I said has excited you, but
Yes.
maybe you don't have. Maybe you're struggling to find that vision, struggling to find that. You don't know what that vision is. You don't know what you could do. Or maybe things are tough right now. I just want to leave you with one simple statement. It's one that I've been living my life by for about a year, and it's this. I kind of changed the words a bit so that it would fit my sermon a bit. But no matter what is happening, no matter what is going on, God has overcome.
Yeah.
God is bigger than that situation. God is bigger than that issue. And the cross covered it.
Yeah.
Jesus overcame it.
Hallelujah.
Whatever you're going through, remember that the best is yet to come.
Amen.
So I just want to leave you with that thought. And I hope that I've stirred you up. I hope I've been invited back because
Well, thank you, Jordan. I just want to say, as a church, God led us to pray for revival some while ago, and we got frustrated, and we started organising on a Wednesday morning. We started a fast and prayer for revival on Wednesday morning, and so many had joined, and now we've got the whole week covered in the morning praying, and that was because we got frustrated here. But worship group, can I ask you to come back up again, please? While I come, and I want to